Hello and welcome all to the new video, a new scene in the series of Merchant of Venice. This is Act 3, Scene 1. Two acts we have discussed in the former videos. So, in this scene, Salanio and Salarino are talking about the losses of Antonio, that one of his ship is wrecked in the Godwin Sands, and Shylock enters in the scene when they were discussing and asks about the elopement of his daughter. But Salanio and Salarino didn't reply sympathetically to Shylock. Meanwhile, Tubal, a Jew, friend of Shylock, came and they both discussed about the elopement of Jessica. Tubal gave him a news that he has got the news that Jessica is spending too much money which she has theft from the Shylock's house. And one of the instances is that in a one sitting she has spent 80 ducats. So Shylock gets disheartened when he listens all this. But there is a good news for Shylock also, because Antonio has got almost bankrupt, and the news of Antonio getting bankrupt pleases Shylock, and he is in a hurry to consult a lawyer so that he can take out the flesh of Antonio. So, let us start with this background in a Venice, a street, the scene where Salanio and Salarino are discussing. So, Salanio says, now what is the news on Rialto? So, he is asking that what is the news on the Venetian Stock Exchange? Salarino says, why, yet it lives there unchecked that Antonio hath a ship of rich lading wrecked on the narrow seas of the Godwins. So, Salarino says that it is apparently confirmed, means not confirmed, apparently confirmed, slightly confirmed, that Antonio has lost a ship in a narrow sea, and where? In the Godwin Sands. So, he is not confirmed about the news, but he has heard that news. I think they call the place a very dangerous, flat and fatal. So, the Godwin, that place is a fatal and dangerous, where the carcass of many a tall ship lie buried, where many ships were wrecked and their wastes are found over there. So, as they say, if my gossip report be an honest woman of her word. So, he is saying that if a talkative woman rumor is to be believed. So, if it is a rumor, like a rumor of a talkative woman, if you believe this, then this has happened, that Antonio's ship is wrecked in the Godwin's sand. So, Salarino is not also confirmed, because he says that apparently confirmed, he tells the news to Salanio. Now, what Salanio replies to that? I should see were lying a gossip that has ever nabbed Ginger or made her neighbors believe she wept for the death of third husband. So, he says Salanio didn't believe this news to be true, because he was a true friend of Antonio. He says that I only hope that Madam Rumor is as big as liar, that woman is as big as liar, and he compares to whom? To the old lady who is chewing the ginger and making her neighbors believe that she is very much weeping for the death of the third husband without actually getting sad about that. So, this is what Salanio replies. So, he means to say that in a figurative way, he says that I do not agree with this. He gave an example that the news you have heard from a talkative woman is like that woman who is weeping at the death of her third husband. Obviously, she is not sad on the death of third husband. So, but it is true without any slips of prolixity or crossing the plain highway of talks. So, now he says that without speaking much or beating about the bush, it is true that good Antonio, the honest Antonio, or that I had a little enough to keep name company. So, he says, so this might be true without beating the bush. I have no words for a person such as Antonio. So, I do not have an adjective for Antonio that is suitable for him. Salarino says, come, the full stop. So, Salarino says that we should stop this talk. Now, Salanio says Ha, what sayest thou? Why, the end is, he hath lost a ship. So he says, what did you say? What did you say means, ha, what sayest thou? Why, the end is, he hath lost a ship. So the sum and the substance of the point is, he has lost the ship. So they come to the conclusion that he has lost the ship. Now Salarino says that it would might prove the end of his losses. So they are praying that this should be his final loss. He must not lose more. Now Salanio says, let me say Amen betimes, lest the devil cross my prayer, for here he comes in the likeness of the Jew. So I must say, let me quickly say Amen immediately, before the devil come and ruin my prayer, for here he comes in the form of a Jew. So he is entering, Shylock is entering. He is saying that a Jew is coming in the form of a devil. So before he comes, I must say Amen, so that God may accept the prayer, that this is the last loss of the Antonio. So that was the discussion between Salanio and Salarino, both friends. In between enter Shylock. How now, Shylock? What news about the merchants? So he says, what is the news about the merchants? He asks to the Shylock. Shylock says, you knew none so well as you of my daughter's flight. So Shylock straightway fired a question that you better than anyone else know well that my daughter has eloped. So you are the person that knows very well that my daughter has escaped. Now Saladino says, that's certain. For my part, knew the tailor that made the wings she flew with. So Salarino is now saying, he is much more mocking and joking over Shylock, that it's quite correct. I even know the tailor who made the cloths in which she escaped. So Salanio says, and Shylock, for his own part, knew the bird was fleshed, and then in the complexion of them all to leave the dam. So Salanio also mock on Shylock, and he says that on the part of Jessica, on his part, he says that the bird was flesh, that the bird was ready to fly, Jessica was ready to elope, and then it is a complexion of them all to leave the dam, and it is the nature of the birds to leave their mothers. So he is putting all to the Jessica that your daughter wanted to run away. What we have to do over that? So Shylock said, she is damned for it. Shylock is saying that she will be punished for it. Salarino says, that's certain, if the devil may be her judge. So Salarino says that that's certain she will be punished, but the case will be that when the devil itself or a Jew itself or a Shylock itself will be a judge, then only she will be punished. Now Shylock says, my own flesh and blood to rebel, my own blood and flesh rebelled against me. He is really angry and exclamatory sentences he is making. So Salarino says, there is more difference between thy flesh and hers than between jet and ivory. So now Salarino again jokes over Shylock and mocks at him. He is saying that there is more difference between you and her than there is between two colors, black and white. So you are black and she is white. There is such a difference between you and your daughter. More between your bloods than there is between red wine and Rhenish. And even if I compare your bloods, your blood is like a red wine and her blood is like a Rhenish German wine. So, but tell us, do you hear whether Antonio has any loss at sea or not? But you have heard that Antonio has any loss over the sea. Now Shylock says, there I have another bad match, a bankrupt, a prodigal. Shylock says, there I have another bad bargain. I have another bad game. I have a bankrupt, a spendthrift, who dare scarce show his head on the Rialto, and now he is not in a position to show his face in the Rialto. A beggar that used to come in smug upon the mart, and he is a beggar who used to come smiling and overconfident at Rialto. Let him took to his bond. He was one to call me usurer. So let him take care of his bond, and he used to call me moneylender. He was one to lend money for a Christian courtesy. So he used to lend money for the Christian courtesy, means he used to lend money without any profits. Let him took to his bond. So now he should take care of his bond. Salarino says, why, I am sure, if he forfeit, thou will not take his flesh. What's that good for? So Salarino says, well, if he is not able to pay your debt, you should not take his flesh, I hope, because that is of no use to you. Now Shylock gives a long speech, hath a Jew not hands? So regarding Jews, in the defense of the Jews, Shylock gives a long speech. So Shylock says, I will take his flesh. Why? To bait fish withal. Why he wants the flesh of Antonio? To use as a bait to catch a fish. So it will be used as a food for the fish. That is the use for the Antonio's flesh. It will feed my revenge. So it is going to feed the revenge of Shylock. He had disgraced me and hindered me 500,000. So he has insulted me, humiliated me, and he has created a loss of 500,000 ducats to me. Laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains. So he used to laugh when I lose, and he mocked when I gained, because he used to call him usurer. Scorned my nation, and he has despised my nation. Thwarted my bargains, and he has interfered in my bargains. Cooled my friends, and he has diminished and despised my friends. Heated mine enemies, and he has incited my enemies. And what's his reason? And you know what is the reason for all this? The reason is, I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? So a Jew do not have eyes? Hath not a Jew hands? Or a Jew do not have hands? Organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions. So Jews also have all these human senses, like passions, affections, senses, dimensions, organs and hands. So fed with the same food, we eat same food. Hurt with the same weapons, we are hurt by the same weapons. Subject to the same disease, we are also caught by the same disease. Comparing to what? Comparing to Christians. Healed by the same means, and the same medicines react on us. Warmed and cooled by the same winter and summers. So for the Jews, the winter and summers are the same as a Christian is. So everything is same for us and for Christians. If you prick us, do not we bleed? So if you prick us, there is a bleeding in us. If you tickle us, do not we laugh? And if you just tickle, we laugh at it. If you poison us, do not we die? If you just give a poison, we die. And if you wrong us, we shall not revenge. And if you do a wrong, we shall revenge. And if we are like you in all the rest. So in this way, we are like you in all the rest. Then we will resemble you in that. In what? In revenge. So we should also be like in the revenge. So what he is making a point? He is making a point. The point is that if a Jew wrong a Christian, suppose a Jew does something wrong to a Christian, what will happen? What is his humility? What is his revenge? If a Christian wrong a Jew, what was his sufferance by a Christian example? So suppose a Jew does a wrong to a Christian, so he will not be excused. Now a Christian has wrong to a Jew, so why should he be excused? So this is the reason of Shylock, and very reasonable. So why revenge? The villainy you teach me. So you are asking why I am asking revenge? Because you have taught me how to be a bad person. You have taught me to be a villain. I will execute and I shall do hard, but I will better the instruction. So I will carry out, and I do not improve upon the lesson you have taught me. So the lesson you have taught me will be taught to you. I am not going to improve over that. So this is the speech of the Shylock. So servant enters in between, and servant says, gentlemen, my master Antonio is at his house and desires to speak with both of you. So Antonio wants to speak with Salanio and Salarino both. Now Salarino says, we have been up and down to seek him. So we also are looking for him everywhere. Salanio says, here comes another of a tribe, a third cannot be matched unless the devil himself turn a Jew. So here comes another man from the same race, Jews. So here comes another devil. We could not find a third to match these two unless the devil himself becomes a Jew. So another Jew comes over there, and who is he? He is Tubal, a friend of Shylock. So he says that we cannot find a third person like this unless a devil himself becomes a Jew. So they are insulting so much. Now with this, Salarino and the servant exit. Enter Tubal Cain. So Tubal enters, and now Tubal and Shylock talks with each other regarding Jessica and losses of Antonio. So Shylock says, "How now, Tubal? What news from Genoa? Hast thou found my daughter?" So Shylock says, "Well, Tubal, what news from Genoa? Have you found my daughter?" Tubal says, "I often came where I did hear of her, but cannot find her." So Tubal says, "I went to the places where I heard some news about her, but I could not find her." Shylock says, "Why, there, a diamond gone, cost me 2,000 ducats in Frankfurt." So he says, alas, I lost a diamond that cost me 2,000 ducats in Frankfurt. The curse never fall upon the nation till now. So the ancient curve never fall upon our race like this until now. And it has been never felt like this. The curse never felt upon the nation till now. I never felt it till now. 2,000 ducats in that and other precious jewels. So 2,000 ducats in diamond alone. So the diamond cost how much? 2,000 ducats. And beside that, I lost other precious jewels. I would my daughter were dead at my foot. So what he is thinking, that I wish that my daughter is lying dead over here, and the jewels in her ear, and wearing jewels in her ear. Would she were buried at my foot. So she would be laid here in a coffin at my foot, and the ducats in her coffin. So all the ducats must be placed over in the coffin. No news of them. So he is much worried about the ducats rather than daughter. So why? So I know not what is spent in the search, and too much is spending on the search of Jessica. And thou loss upon thou, and thou loss upon loss. So there is loss upon loss. One thing is that she has theft so much amount, and the other thing is that there is too much spent in searching her. The thief gone with so much, and so much to find the thief, and no satisfaction. So the thief has gone with so much, and there is too much money that is being spent on finding the thief, and with no satisfaction, no revenge, nor no ill luck stirring, but what lights on my shoulder, no sighs, but of my breathing, no tears, but of my shedding. So Shylock is very disappointed. He is saying that I have neither satisfaction nor revenge, only bad luck has fallen upon me. So I have get no good news from anywhere. There are sighs except my sighs. I am sighing, and there is nothing except my tears. The tears I am shedding. Now Tubal says, he is saying that Shylock is saying that I am the only unlucky man. Tubal says, no, you are not the only unlucky man. Antonio is also unlucky man. That's what Tubal says in the next dialogue. Tubal says, yes, other man ill luck too. Antonio, as I heard in Genoa. So Antonio also has a ill luck. Now Shylock is very happy. He says, what? Ill luck, ill luck. So Shylock is saying, what? Ill luck of Antonio. Tubal says, hath an argosy cast away coming from Tripolis. So he says that he has got a ship wrecked that was coming from the Tripoli. So one ship was wrecked in the Godwin, that was discussed by Salanio and Salarino, and now the Tubal gives the other news that one of the ships coming from Tripoli is also being wrecked. Shylock says, I thank God, it's true. So Shylock is very happy. So he is thanking God too much that the ship of the Antonio is wrecked. Tubal says, I spoke with some of the sailors that escaped the wreck. Tubal says that some of the sailors who survived that accident, and I spoke to them that Antonio's ship is damaged. Shylock says, I thank thee God, Tubal, good news, haha, where? In Genoa. So he is saying, so that's the good news. So where did you heard this news? In Genoa. So Shylock is really happy. Tubal says, your daughter is spent in Genoa, as I heard, in one night 80 ducats. Now Tubal gives another blow to Shylock. After good news, he gives a blow. He says that I heard in Genoa that your daughter has spent 80 ducats in one night in Genoa. Shylock says, thou stickest a dagger in me. So now you are putting a dagger in my heart. Dagger? Something fine in his heart. So I shall never see my gold again. 80 ducats at a sitting, 80 ducats. So I am not going to get my gold again, what she has theft. So she is spending 80 ducats in one night, in one sitting. Now Tubal says, There come divers of Antonio creditors in my company to Venice that swear he cannot choose but break. So, Tubal says that some of the creditors of Antonio were coming, and I met them in Venice, and they were saying that Antonio cannot be avoided to getting bankrupt. Shylock says, I am very glad of it. I'll plague him. I'll torture him. I am glad of it. So Shylock is saying, I am very happy to hear it. I'll persecute him. I will torture him. I'll glad of it. Tubal says, one of them showed me a ring. Now again, Tubal just give one good news and one bad news in this way. So now Tubal says, one of the sellers showed me a ring, your ring, which he had got from your daughter in exchange of a monkey. Means daughter of the Shylock Jessica has purchased a monkey giving a ring. Now Shylock says, out upon her, shame on her, thou torture me, Shylock. So that is torturing me. It was my turquoise, that was my turquoise ring. It had it of Leah. So that was the ring of Leah when I was a bachelor. Leah is wife of Shylock. So when I was a bachelor, that was the ring of Leah. So I would not have given up for the wilderness of monkeys. So if someone has asked me for a group of horde of monkeys, I would not exchange it, that turquoise ring. And my daughter, my shameless daughter, has exchanged for just a monkey that ring. So Tubal says, but Antonio certainly, and now again he gives good news. One bad news, one good news. So Antonio says, so Tubal says, Antonio is certainly undone. So Antonio is certainly ruined. Shylock says, nay, it's true, that's very true. So indeed, that's very true. Go Tubal, fee me an officer. So go Tubal and hire an officer. Bespeak him fortnight, and you should ask him in advance, pay him advance before. I will have a heart of him, and I'll have a heart of Antonio. So if he forfeit, for where he out of Venice. So if he is not going to pay me because he is already bankrupt. So if once he is out of Venice, I can make what merchandise. So once he is out of Venice, I can make enough money from the Venice, because he is the one who is letting the rate of interest down. I will go Tubal and meet me at our synagogue. So go Tubal at our synagogue, Tubal. Shylock was very excited. He says that I shall have Antonio's heart, and if he is not going to pay it, I'll have his heart, and once he go out of Venice, I'll make enough money what I'll try to make. And go ahead Tubal, and we will meet at synagogue. Synagogue is a temple of Jews. So we'll meet at synagogue, and in this way they exit. So this was the scene, Act 3, Scene 1, in which the further plot has been developed of the trial scene, in which the Shylock will take the flesh of Antonio, because up till now it has not been discussed that Shylock is going to take the flesh, because for the first time it is very clear that the Antonio ship was getting wrecked, one at Tripolis, one at Godwin Sands, and the sailors are talking that no one is going to save Antonio from getting bankrupt. So Antonio, the big merchant, now has gone bankrupt, and Shylock is very much ready to take out his flesh, because he wanted Antonio to die, because once Antonio is dead or out of Venice, then he can make his profits as much as he can, although he has lost too much, and he is very much unsatisfied with the way his daughter is spending the money, but still he is enough hopeful that he will make money if he can take the life of Antonio. So this was the further development of the plot, and this was Act 1, Act 3, Scene 1. So thank you very much for being with me.